Okay, so before I start, any doubt?
Yes, ma'am. I have a doubt, ma'am.
Yes.
Hello,
Hello. Yes, you
ma'am.
can
I
share
just
your
want to know
doubt.
what. Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me, ma'am?
Yes, I can hear you.
Ma'am, what is the basic purpose of ARIMA modeling? Is it used only for forecasting purpose, or we can establish dependent, independent type of relationship through it, ma'am?
No, it's for forecasting.
Okay, okay,
For relationship, we have other models. For example, if we are doing
okay,
co-integration, or if you are going for multivariate gauge, if you are going for DCC gauge, BKK gauge, CCC gauge, so in that you are going to make a relationship. That means we are going to see whether there is a correlation between two variables or not, whether we can make a portfolio with these two variables or not, and whether if there are more than two variables, what can be your hedge ratio. So we can make the relationship in a multivariate variable. Whenever there is a multiple variables, we can make a relationship. But ARIMA model is a univariate variable model where only one kind of variable will be there.
okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, for the monthly data, how many months I can forecast on the ARIMA?
For monthly data, see, you will be taking your monthly data. So try to forecast for 12 months, 10 to 12 months.
Okay, ma'am. And for the daily data, it is 10 to 12.
Yeah, main thing is that you can just forecast maximum 10 to 20. I can forecast 30 also. I can forecast 50 also, but the results can be biased because we are not saying that the lag value has a memory to keep it in mind for the 50 previous values. And we cannot say that we can predict. That means you are saying that if I'm making any model, whatever price is today and today's price will affect the price 50 days ahead. So practically, if you think that is not possible.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Anyone else?
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, Puna?
Ma'am, actually, we have started the time series analysis on the data, which is means that data should be pre-processed, means outlier should be removed first, or without, means the raw data we can use.
No, I have given you the finished data. That means I have not given you the raw data. If you remember, I have given you three files. One will be share price, one is share price one is share price two. Share price two was the raw data, and then I converted into the semi-finished part, that is my share price one. And after share price one, I make it a finished data, that is share price. So
Okay, means
in the whenever you are extracting the data, first thing is you have to extract the data. You can
okay,
if you have the, that means every stock market, if you are extracting the stock market data or any other data, every stock market has some abbreviation which is known as a ticket.
okay,
So you must be aware about that abbreviation. Suppose I want to list my stock price into my stock into the stock market, so I will be getting some abbreviation for my stock, maybe
okay,
XYZ. So some stock name will be given, because let's say for my company name is ABCD Limited. So they won't give me the stock price with the name of ABCD Limited, but they will give me some abbreviation, maybe for 4 or 5 letters. So that abbreviation I should remember. If I remember that abbreviation, I can just give the command to R. Say, yeah, this is the abbreviation for the stock. Just extract the data from this date to this date. So R will extract the data for you. And after that, what you will do, you will clean the data with the help of R. If you are going for only one variable, then R can do it with the one variable. But if you are doing the work for more than one variable, so for each and every variable, whatever data you have extracted, just export that Excel file in your system. If you
okay,
have exported the Excel file in your system, after that you will find out that which dates you are going to observe from that data. That means, suppose for let's say for stock A, I have taken the data from 2000 till 2020, right? 20 years data. But in 20 years data, I am getting around 2000 observation. Similarly, I extracted the data for second variable for the same dates, but both the stock market are not working on the same dates. So second data is for, let's say, 1500 observation. So I observed that maximum 1500 observations can be taken within that data set, because I cannot generate more values. So I have to reduce the values. So I will extract the 1500 variable, 1500 observation. So now after that, what I'll do, I'll match all the dates. That if I'm taking the data for 1st January for variable 1, so 1st January for variable 2 also I have to take the data. So for that, I have shown you that we will be using the VLOOKUP command. After the VLOOKUP command is there, I will extract the data for all the dates. And after that, I'll see whether there is a missing frequency or not. And then what I'll do, if there is a missing frequency, either you can delete it with the help of manually, that will take time, or whatever Excel sheet you have taken, just upload that, import that Excel sheet into R, and give the instructions to R that clean my data. Then R will clean your data. And whatever data is cleaned, you can export it further, or you can do the analysis with the help of that data in the R. So it's better first clean the data in R and export it in your laptop, because it's not sure that in one shot only you are going to do all the analysis. It can happen that I'm just extracting the data right now, but I don't have any much time to do it right now. So I extract that cleaned sheet into my laptop. And whenever I'm going to do the analysis, I will again import the clean sheet. So that means I don't have to go again with the raw data.
Okay. Ma'am, one more thing. We have applied the stationarity. So suppose in my dataset, one column is there which required the stationarity. So we applied that test. And after that, parallelly, we had taken the, suppose that dataset contains 10 variables, 10 columns. And we have tested the N225, where we have applied the stationarity on that. But parallelly, at the same time, we have applied the BVSP and SSCI on that algorithm, on that columns also we applied that log and difference. But actually, we got on N225 the stationarity is required. But then also we applied the stationarity on other two columns also. So is it necessary?
See, for each and every column, you will verify whether the stationary is at level or first difference. If you will see that suppose first variable is stationary, so you don't have to convert it. And the second variable is not stationary, convert it. If third variable is stationary, don't convert it.
But
So
ma'am, at the
just
same time, that length may vary, na? Suppose first variable, the length of my data set is suppose 100 rows.
Yes.
So
For the first variable, that will be 100. And for the second variable, it won't be, it will be 99, because one will be
correct,
difference. So
correct.
what you have to
But
do, again, you have to clean it. That means you have to remove the first variable on from other two also.
okay. But ma'am, then suppose I have applied log on that columns, and I now suppose applied the LM model, linear regression
Yes.
model. So, but on logarithmic value, how can I apply the model then? Means again, I
I
have to
can, yes.
retransfer that into
No,
original form.
no. You don't have to. See, if you are working on, suppose I'm working on the salary, wages. So it's obvious whenever we are doing the regression, I'll convert the salary and wages into log. I will never work on the price data. So I'll convert it into log. We always try to, if we are not taking the difference, we always try to convert the data into log only.
Okay.
So you can do it. It hardly matters. Even it can also happen that your dependent variable is a logarithm term and your independent variable is a non-log term. Or it can happen opposite also. Your dependent variable is non-log term and your independent variables are log terms. We can do it. Each and everything has some theory. We can do it.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Ma'am, if it is the variables, dependent variable in the log form and independent variable in the non-log form, will not be the bias, ma'am, because
No. It won't be. No, it won't be biased.
Okay.
It depends on the model that you are creating.
Okay.
Maybe in some other workshop, I'll tell you that what
Yeah.
happens when we are taking log term. We can take, suppose dependent and independent can be without log also. Dependent and independent both can be with log also. And it can also happen either dependent or independent. One of them can be log, another can be non-log. It can happen.
Okay, because in other workshop they used to tell both the series in the same form.
No, it can
So I
happen.
just thought, yeah, okay, okay,
So, ma'am,
okay, fine.
if
Everything
our
has a theory.
okay,
Okay,
but
ma'am.
ma'am, if our data set contains 100 columns, suppose, means
Hmm.
large number of parameters are available, then we have to check for each and every column whether it is
Yes, yes,
in
yes,
stationarity form or not. Okay.
yes. But it will be very difficult if you are taking the 100 columns. See,
Hmm.
right now we are doing only the ARIMA model. ARIMA
Hmm.
model is just a
Only
basic
one.
model only. No,
Hmm.
ARIMA model is a basic model. See, we are
Hmm.
starting from one variable, then two, then three, then four.
Hmm.
Right. Your ARIMA is a basic model, univariate model. After that, you are doing your arch and gauge, or if you are
Hmm.
checking your structural break, we are doing for univariate model. That means only for one variable. And
Hmm.
once you are well versed with the univariate model, you will move towards the multivariate model. And in
Okay.
multivariate model also, you will first of all take two variables, and then you will go
Hmm.
with three, then four. Once you
Okay.
are familiar with your arch and gauge model for checking the volatility, then you will
Hmm.
check the spillover effect, whether one model is affecting the other model or not. If one model
Okay.
is affecting the other model, then you can say that yes, we can make a portfolio because I have to diverse my risk. If I am going to invest everything in one stock, say, even in businesses also, you will see that people are diversifying their risks, their this business. They are not investing every money in one business only. So they are
Hmm. Hmm.
diversifying the things. Similarly, if I want to invest, I am having a business of shares. I want to invest in some shares, so I want to diversify my risk. So how
Hmm.
you will see that where I have to diversify? For example, if I said this your variable X stock X is having a return of 100%, right? So I will
Hmm.
going to invest in that stock, but future is uncertain. Suppose the stock price reduces. So what I'll do?
Hmm.
So I'll try to invest in two portfolios. That means in two different stocks. If I'm going to invest in two different stocks, I'll see the correlation between these two. That means covariance between these two, whether
Hmm.
these two stocks are moving together or not. Suppose
Hmm.
stock X is also getting 10% return and stock Y is also getting 10% return. And suppose I'm saying stock prices decreases. If stock A decreases by 10%, stock B also decreases by 10%. So there is
Hmm.
no use of making the portfolio of these two stocks because if A is increasing, B is also increasing, risk is same. If A is decreasing, B is also decreasing. Again, the risk is same. So what
Hmm.
we always try to do, we are going to make a portfolio which has either a weak correlation or a negative correlation. That means if stock A is increasing, stock D is decreasing. If I am having a loss with D, that can be recovered or you can say trade off with the increase in stock A. So that means in that
Hmm.
case, I will not be having any loss. It will be trade off. So either there should be a weak correlation or there should be a negative correlation. So first of all, what
Hmm.
I'll do, I'll making a this multivariate model, and then I'll see whether there is a positive correlation or negative. If negative is there, so that means I can make a portfolio. If positive is there, I will see whether there is a strong correlation or a weak. If weak correlation is there, I'll make a portfolio. If strong correlation is there, so I won't make a portfolio because if one is decreasing, other is also decreasing. So that means I am losing the money.
Hmm.
My risk is increasing. So that means now after that you have taken the this hedge ratio part. So now
Hmm.
you are well versed with the univariate, then bivariate, then multivariate, then hedge. Now after that you will see that whether if one model, let's say I'm saying
Hmm.
that demonetization in my country is there.
Hmm.
So if demonetization in my country is there, I am doing the export and import with other countries also. And right now, if you will see that Indian currency is acceptable more than 20 countries right now. Previously, dollar was a currency which is acceptable throughout the world. But right now, Indian currencies are also acceptable in many countries over here. We are doing trading in Indian currency. So suppose there is a demonetization in my country. If there is a demonetization in my country, it is going to expect, it is going to impact the production. If it is going to impact the production, it is going to affect your export and import. If it is going to impact my export and import, it is going to affect my FDI also, because people are investing in my country. So that means one thing has a relationship with others. So now I will see that how much relationship is there. Your DCC guide will tell you, yes, there is a long-term relationship or short-term relationship, but it is not going to tell you how much relationship. If I'm saying A is related to B or A is having a spillover effect on B, so DCC guide is not going to tell you how much effect. But if we are going to do further connectedness model, then it will going to tell you, yes, 10% relationship is there. A is giving, if A's price are increasing, so it will have a 10% impact on B. Any news comes up by the A stock, so 10% price of B stock is going to increase. So whether B is a transmitter, whether B is giving us the shocks because B is affecting me or I am affecting B. So that means you will see the bidirectional relationship or unidirectional relationship. A is affecting B or B is affecting A or both are affecting each other. If both are affecting each other, how much is being affected? For example, let's say I'll give you one more example. Let's say these days you are having a green energy. Everything is green, green finance, green marketing, everything is green. So that means what we are happening, we are going to reduce our carbon emission. And if you are going to reduce the carbon emission, so green products are being traded. That means we are going to produce the green products. And if you will see, green products means, let's say I want to reduce the petrol and I want to increase the green energy. Green energy means what I have to do? I have to produce the solar energy. I have to use the solar energy. I should install the solar panels. If I am installing the solar panels, so less electricity will be consumed and less carbon emission will be there. Solar panel means more steel production is there because solar panels are made by the steel. So that means production of steel will increase. If production of steel will increase, demand for steel will increase, stock price of steel will increase. So that means the carbon emission has an impact on your steel also. So that means now I have to see how much impact is there. Whether it is having an impact or not. If yes, impact is there, how much is there? Whether carbon emission is the transmitter or carbon emission is the giver. So again, next model. So once you are starting with the basic parts, slowly you will move towards the advanced part. But taking 100 variables in the time series data will be difficult.
Okay.
Because whenever you will be making a diagram, it will be very difficult to analyze.
Yes. That's why my next question is same related to diagram, because we are testing or visualizing the data and then we decide now, okay, whether it after stationary we have to test the trends also. So for
Trends,
testing
yes.
the trend, there is no any direct test is available. We have to visualize the data and then we have to define it whether
No,
it is
no,
in.
test,
Okay.
for everything tests are available. For everything visualization is available. For everything tests are available. I'll give you
Okay.
so many examples. Suppose I am seeing that, yes, suppose I was crossing the road and I fell out. I know that I have broken my leg. So that means my bone is being fractured. I know it. But still, by the x-ray, we go for the test. That by the x-ray, we will see that where the broken leg is there. So tests are there. If I know that I am having sugar, but still I go for the diabetes test. Doctor can judge the medicine. The doctor can judge your illness, but still it go for the test. So as similarly in our data analysis also, we can judge everything from the diagrams, but still we go for the test. We just go for the test to validate it. Either, first of all, you are going to make the test and give the analysis, and then you are going to validate it with the help of diagrams also. So it's one of the opposite thing, but whether make it a diagram or then test, and for first test, then diagrams. So everything is to be validated. These are just the tests, but you have to go with the theory also. For example, if I'm saying carbon emission, I know that during the COVID-19, carbon emission was less because everything is locked down. So because everything is locked down, production was less, people are sitting at their home. So neither the fuel was used, nothing was used at that time. So for that particular time, carbon emission decreases. So if I do the carbon analysis, I just collected the data for carbon analysis, carbon emission, and then I'm going to do the analysis whether there's a decrease in carbon emission or not. If I found that there is a decrease in carbon emission, so I can validate the result by yes, there was a COVID-19, everything was locked down, so that's why there was a decrease.
Hmm.
So you just have to give the proofs.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Mhm.
Any other doubt?
Madam,
Yes.
madam, there is two type of data is there. One is price data and return data.
Hmm.
How to identify that?
Sir, price we are ourselves aware of that whenever whatever data we are collecting, whether it's a price or not. It's obvious if you are collecting the stock price, it will be price. If you are collecting the sales data, it will be the price data. But if you are at let's say I'm just collecting the data that how much cost will it incur to give the advertisement. So again, it's a price data. But if I am calculating the interest rate, or if I am just collecting the data for FD, this for your GDP. So, or if I'm collecting the data for your inflation rate, so it's obvious that if the inflation rate is there, so it will be in percentage. If interest rate is there, it will be in percentage. So it depends what kind of data you are collecting. So we are able to judge our data that whether it is in rupees or that means whether it's in currency or whether it is not in currency. It should not be in return data. I'm not saying it should be in return data. For example, if I'm saying that COVID-19 cases, how many deaths are there? So it's not a price data. So we can directly use the difference in that.
Okay, madam. For example, GDP is there. We are
Hmm.
quoting in rupees.
Yes, so it will be a price data.
Okay.
If it isn't, and if any currency is there, it's a price data. If except currency is there, it's not a price data. If it is not in currency, just take simple difference. If it is in any currency, just take the logarithm returns. But why we are taking the logarithm return? Why we are not doing with the currency? For example, I want to study the let's say GDP of different countries. My country GDP will be in rupees. USA currency, USA country GDP will be in dollars, or Canada will be in Canadian dollars, Australia will be in Australian dollars. And if you will compare these two, so difference will be there in the currency. So if I'm going to convert everything into dollars, so it will be very difficult. So what I did, convert each and every currency or every data into return series. So I convert everything into percentage, then I can compare it. Because whenever we are comparing it, the base should be same. One should not be in rupees, one should not be in dollars, one should not be in Canadian dollars, one should not be in Australian dollars. Base should be same. As I give you the example for marks, if one is getting 100, one other is getting 200, third person is getting 300, I cannot compare because the this marks is different. That means I am not aware of what is the total marks. If one person is getting 100 of 100, other is getting 200 out of 500, third is getting 300 out of 1000. So base is different. So what I did, I convert everything into percentage and then I compare the marks percentage. So that is better. So that's why we always try to convert into return series so that this differentiation is not there.
Okay.
Okay, are you able to see my this PPT?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so
Yes, ma'am.
yesterday we did with the ARIMA model. Before ARIMA model, we have to go with the structural break, but right now today we are going to do the structural break. Now, what is structural break? If you will see this data, this line is going over here and then it is breaking and it is moving. It's changing its direction. Right? See, I have taken the sales. These are the sales of one company. So sales of a company is increasing till 2007 and then again it take a steep increase after 2006. 6 onwards, let's take a steep increase. So you will see that there is a break over here. See this thing. This is a point where the break started. So whenever you are taking a data, whenever you are taking a long-term data, so it's as a researcher, it's your wish whether you want to see a break or you want to study a thorough result. If you want to study a thorough point, let's say I'm taking from 2000 till 2020, I can do it, but it can happen that my results are biased because there are many things which are affecting my data. My data is not smooth throughout. There are different breaks in my data due to some external factors or maybe the internal factors of the company itself. So breaks can be there. So I can say that structural, it is a structural point. What do you mean by structural point? Such structural breakpoints make our job of prediction. Either I am doing prediction or I am making the estimation or I am making the relationship. It will become difficult. So always try, if you will find a research paper these days, what they are doing, they are going to predict the relationship among COVID-19 only. They are taking a short-term durations. That means they are saying that how much the stock price fluctuate in India and during COVID-19, how much stock price fluctuate in US during COVID-19, how much stock price is fluctuating in Canada during COVID-19, or how much is fluctuating in Australia during COVID-19, and COVID-19 means a period of 2 to 3 years. They are taking the daily data. If you are taking daily data, that your number of observation will be around 1000 or plus something. So they are comparing. Or even if you are taking the research papers these days, they are taking your comparison between your COVID-19 and your Russia-Ukraine war. And if you will see more research papers, what they are doing, they are taking the 5 crises. Within last 20 years, in the whole world, there are 5 different crises. So they are comparing the 5 different crises. The career crisis started from 2007-8. They are taking financial crisis. After that, 13-14 China crisis. 14 after 15 Russian crisis, oil break was there. In 2019, your COVID-19 is there. After 2022, there is your Russia-Ukraine war is there. And after that, in USA, Silicon Valley is there. So that means these 3 crises are there, which is affecting throughout the world. So there are some structural breaks. That means they are breaking. See, in what happened in COVID-19, if you will observe, I don't know how many you are interested in these stocks and investment. If you will see in COVID-19, when the sales was decreased, everything was locked down. So the stock price decreased because it was a negative news. The stock price decreases suddenly. And when the stock price decreases suddenly, what happened? The people has invested their money. So when the people are investing their money, they are finding some safe haven. That where should I invest so that I should not have a loss. So at that point of time, precious metals were the safe haven. Precious metals means they are gold and silver. So people start investing in gold and silver. So gold and silver fluctuations are more. Even in the other cases also fluctuations are more because people are taking out their money and they're investing in gold and silver. So at that particular time, fluctuations are more in your gold and silver. But if I came towards the Russian-Ukraine war, and at that time I see the fluctuations. So at that time, because Russia-Ukraine war is a geopolitical war, that means it is affecting only few countries. It's not affecting the whole world. But COVID-19 is a pandemic which has affected the whole world. So whole world, in the whole world, volatility was there. But during Russia-Ukraine war, if you will see, only those goods are being affected which are being produced by in Russia. And if you will see, Russia is an exporter of livestock. So that means there is a different, there is a, you can say a stoppage on the production of livestock. So that was being affected. And all those countries which are importing the goods from Russia, they are being impacted. So this way, for the theory, you will see that sometimes there is a structural break in each and every country, and sometimes there is a structural break in only few nations or only few stocks or only few businesses. So that's what we have to find out, the structural breaks. Now, how to take care of such breaks in one of the challenge, which we will be learning that how to find out the structural breaks. That if structural breaks are there, what should be my data? Now, structural break, it is called a structural break when a time series abruptly changes at a point of time. That means at any particular time, your data will suddenly change. If data is suddenly changing, it means there is a change in mean, or there is a change in parameters of the processes that produce the series. So our main thing is that we have to find out that structural break, and that structural break can be due to any reason. I'm not taking only COVID-19. Let's say I'm having a company and I suddenly announce the dividend. If I suddenly announce a dividend, there will be a word of mouth that this company is good. This company is giving us this much dividend, so demand for my shares will increase, and suddenly the stock price will shoot up. So that means there was some news in the market due to which my stock price shoot up. My stock price was increasing on daily basis 10 to 12%, but suddenly after that news, the stock price changes to 20%. There is a jump of 20% in the stock price. So that means some external factors has affected my stock price, due to which it suddenly changes its shape. And if throughout last 1 year my dividend or my prices are increasing by 10%, so I can say my mean is 10%. It is a fluctuation between 10 to 9% that my prices are increasing and decreasing. But suddenly when there is a change of 20%, so I can say my mean has increased from 10% to 20%. So there is a change in the mean. So structural break means suddenly when there are some external shocks due to which there is a change in your variable. Or if I can say sales, we have seen in COVID-19, thus suddenly the sales was dropped. Or why to go for COVID-19? Let's say if I'll go for the previous data, let's say when the offline shoppings were there. So if I'll say I'm having a showroom and my sales is this much, right? Suddenly there is a launch of an online portal. Amazon came into the market. When Amazon came into the market, people are not going to the showroom to purchase the things. They are purchasing the goods from the online system. So that means that when Amazon entered, so there will be the effect of sales on the showroom sales, on the mall sales. So that means suddenly there is a structural break due to some external factor that has seeped up into my business. So whenever all these things happen, there will be a structural break in your data. So you must be aware about all such theories. That means we don't have to blindly do that there is a structural break. It should not be blindly that data is showing that there is a structural break, so we should apply structural break. Some theories are there. You should be aware about your model, whether I want to take the structural break or not. Or let's say I'll just give you one more example. I'm doing a business and I want to see my financial performance of my company. And let's say I'm only producing product A, right? So suddenly what happens? I introduce one more product in my product line. For example, Maruti is producing Maruti 100 before. But right now there are different kinds of cars that are launched by the Maruti. So as the company is introducing new model, obviously there will be the change in the financial performance. There will be change in the sales. There will be change in the revenue. Or there is some external factor. Suppose again, I want to see this financial performance, how much revenue or how much disposable income I am having in my hand. So whatever I have to, let's say corporate tax is 10%, I am giving 10% tax to the government, and whatever 70% amount is left, that is my disposable income. I can use that income in whatever way I want. But suddenly what happens? Government says that now, no, I will charge 40% tax. Previously, I was charging 30% tax. Now I will charge 40% tax. So what happens? Government has suddenly increased the tax rate. So government is what? It's an external factor. It's not my company. Government doesn't have any relationship with me. Government increases the tax rate. So what happens? My disposable income is decreased. So why my disposable income is decreased? Due to some external shocks. So again, my mean will be changed. So there are some external news due to which there is a change in my variable. So at that point, I have to find out the structural break, why the structural break is there. So I can say that structural break occurs when we see a sudden change in a time series or relationship between two time series. And we will be doing the different tests. So one of the tests is your Chow breakpoint test. We will be studying the biparent test also. So first of all, I'll be teaching you how to find the structural breaks and then by Chow test and your biparent test. So can we move to this R?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you able to see my R?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
any doubt in the theory of structural break? Any
No,
doubt?
madam. No, no, madam.
Okay, now I have sent you one data set of Century Textile. Just upload that data set in your system. I have WhatsApp it you. I have not mailed it. I have just sent it on the group. Why I choose this Century Textile? Because this your share price data, I can do the test in share price also, but number of variables were more in that. And just to teach you, I want to take a less number of variables. That's why I choose this so that you are able to learn more easily with the short-term data. Done? Done? Everyone has done this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now first thing is that you have to attach your file. I think everyone has attached the file. Now you have to library one package that is struct change. You have to library this package. So just install this package struct change. So let me library it. Done. Now, if you will see my this Century Textile, I have taken this monthly data over here. Are you seeing 1/1/2001, 1/2/2001, 1/3/2001? I have taken the monthly data starting from 2001 till I think 2020 years. So it's a monthly data and it's a 20 years data. So total of 240 observations are there. Done? So first thing, let's see with the help of diagram whether there is some structural breaks or not. So everyone knows how to make a diagram, plot.ts, and then your variable name, that is your Century text. Now this is our diagram. Now, if you will observe the diagram, you will see there are various structural breaks. But by seeing the diagram, I cannot say that over here the prices are increasing. So here is a structural break. You will see the price increases and then decreases. So there will be some shock. It's not a structural break. It's a short-term shock. Again, the price increases and decreases, a short-term shock. And over here, the price increases and there is a sudden decrease. So I can say, yes, there can be a structural break at this point. There can be a structural break at this point, or there can be a structural break among this thing. There can be a structural break in this scenario also. So by looking it, if I know it that what will be the point where the structural break will be there. For example, I just told you that we know that there are 5 different prices that happens in last 20 years. I have taken data from 2001 till 2020. So there are 5 different prices. So if the break is seen over that, so I can say that yes, this is a point where the structural break might have happened. So after that, I'll check it, validate it from the test, whether whatever I am thinking or whatever the theory is saying or whatever the facts are saying, and the test is also saying the same thing or not. So now let's check it that where the structural breaks are there. So after that, now what we are going to do, we are going to create a model which will tell us whether there is a structural break or not. By seeing, I am observing, I am thinking that yes, there is some structural break because there is not a single trend in it. Prices are not always moving upward, or neither the prices are moving downward. They are fluctuating. So some shocks might be there due to which in last 20 years prices are fluctuating. So as we have already discussed, what we have to do whenever we are making the structural breaks, there can be many structural points during these 240 observation. So what I am doing, I am storing the data in some vector. And for your understanding, you can say the name of the column is my vector. So I'm storing with the name, let's say model. So now model, I'm storing the data in model. I'm asking R whether there is the structural break in my data or not. So with this command, R will just tell me, yes, there is a structural break, or no, there is no structural break. So model is equals to fstats, and then the name of the variable in which you want to find whether there is a structural break or not. So I'm saying century text tilt 1. Now why I'm taking 1? Because it's a univariate variable. I want to check the structural break in only one variable. So that's why I have written 1. This is a univariate variable. And after that, I'll say that you have to check from 0.01. 0.01 means from the first observation, from the first minute point, start checking whether there is a structural break or not. So my model is created. Now I will give the command structural change test, SC test of model, because I have stored my data into the model. And whenever you have created any model in R, you will see this much sign, this yellow, red, this yellow, blue, and red. You will see this sign of a model. And just click it and see over here. Where I have written in this, yes. Now, my H0 will be, see over here, H0 will be, there is no structural change. No there is no structural break. And your H1 will be, there is structural break or structural break points. You can, whatever you want to say, you can say. Now, you will observe that your p-value is less than 0.05. See, it's E minus 16. That means if you are going to put decimals will be 16 digits in the left. So that will be 0.000002, which will be around near about less than 0.05. So if it is less than 0.05, I'll go with the H1. And H1 is saying there is a structural break in your data. Now, once we have find out, yes, there is a structural break in my data. So now I will find out that where is the structural break? At what point there is a structural break? In which year there is a structural break? So for that, I'm using the command struct change. And then I'll say that give me the breakpoints. Give me the breakpoints. Breakpoints from which variable? My variable name is century text. And start giving the breakpoints from the first observation. From the first observation. Now see over here. It has given me the breakpoints. It is saying that there are 4 breakpoints in your data. First breakpoint is at 56th observation, second at 92, third at 152, and fourth at 188. Now, if we will observe over here, the first is at around 56. 56 is over here. So here is some breakpoint. After that, it's saying 92. 92 comes over here, something over here. Something this way. If the 92, I can see that there is some increase or decrease over here. So I will find out. I have find out the way that why it is happening. And after that, it is saying 152. Now see over 152. Yes, I can observe that there is a structural break because after this point, the prices start increasing. And last is 188. 188 is around over here. There is some structural break. And let's observe it with the help of your Century Textile file. It's 188, see 188 observation. If I'm going to see 188, it's around see 2016. And I already told you that in 2016, in 15-16, there was a Russian crisis. So this can be one of the factors. Maybe the export and import is being affected because Century Textile is a textile company. Maybe this can be the reason. Or if this is not the reason, just find out by studying the Century Textile details what has happened in 2015 or 16. Because this will gives you the near about point. Let's say if in 152, if I'm going to observe in 152, the 152 is 2013. If you remember, I just told you in 2013, China crisis were there. In 92, let's see about the 92 observation. See 2008, financial crisis. Getting my point or not? That's it. This struct change data is telling you the same dates for the crisis. And if you will observe in this 52, it's 2005. So you have to check it in what happens in 2005. Maybe there is some crisis or not. Or it's not necessary that you have to take all the 4 breakpoints. You can just take the major breakpoint that is affected your variable. You have to back up with the theory that yes, this thing happened during for my variable in this particular year. So if you will say that yes, something happened in 2007-8 with your variable, so just make 2 data set, one from 2001 to 2020 or 2007 and second with 2007 to 2020. Or if you will see that in 14-15 also there is a something that is affecting your data, make 3 data set and then compare it. So it's up to you what you want to do it. But it's 100% sure that if you are going to take the data from 2001 till 2020, so if you are making the forecast can be biased. There can be errors in that. So any doubt in this? Any doubt till here?
Madam, what is that, madam? The corresponding to breakness, break dates.
These are the, see what happens in R whenever we are putting the structural change on that thing, they convert the dates into these points. For R, these are not the dates. For R, date is one of the variable. So it does convert it into its own coding. Even Stata does it in its own coding. We have to give the command that don't give your coding because we are not able to understand, give our coding. So that's why it's like corresponding to break date. These are some points.
Okay.
Now, there is another way. This is the simple way we have tested, but now we are going to make the another test for biparent test. Biparent test and chow test will give you the exact lines over there that how the data is being break and what is the exact period during which you should have a break. And now it's up to you whether you want to take that break or not. But again and again, I am saying never take a break blindly. This is just a software. It is just telling by seeing the dates or data that yes, this software is observing that there is a break. But you have to see the literature, you have to see the theories, whether actually there is a break in your variable or not. So you have to give the reason for that. Now, the next thing what we are going to do, we are going to check it by parent test. So let me go with by parent test. Next is by parent test. Now, what does by parent test does? Anyone having any idea? What is this test? The biparent test is one of the tests which will help you in finding the structural break. But the problem with biparent test is that it doesn't believe on us that I am giving the time series data to it. I have given the time series data. My Century Textile is a time series data. It's related to time. But still, this biparent test is not confidence on me. This biparent test doesn't have any confidence on me. It says that you give me the data. First of all, I will convert it into time series and then some test will be applied on it. So biparent will not believe on me. It doesn't have any confidence that I am giving the right data to this R to apply this biparent test. So first of all, what we have to do, we have to give the instruction to R that I have to use the biparent test, just convert my data into time series data. So the first step, again, you have to install, we have already installed the struct change. And the next library that you have to do is T series, time series. Done?
Yes, ma'am.
So now we have to just convert our data into time series because it's a pre-requirement of a biparent test. It will believe on his calculation, not my calculation. So let's store the data in some name. So let's say this is Century Textile, let's say share price. So, or I can say sale price, anything. You can just give the variable X. Let's say I'm giving the variable X. So X is equals to time series. I'm saying convert the data into time series. Short form is TS, time series, and then the name of your variable. My variable name is Century Textile. Century text. So this is my name of the variable. And I will give the instruction that convert my this data into time series, which is starting from 2001 and it is ending on 2020. Right? My data was ending on 2020, right? My data is ending in, yes, it's ending in 2020. So I am giving the instruction to him that this, and now see, I have given the instruction that my data is starting from 2001 and my this data is ending at 2020. But again, I am not given the instruction whether my data is a monthly data, it is a quarterly data, it is a daily data, what kind of data it is. So now I will give the instruction whether my data is quarterly, whether it's monthly, whether it's annually, what kind of data it is. So I'll give frequency, that how frequently my data is moving. So frequency is equals to 12 because my data is a monthly data. So it frequency means how many times it is appears in the year. If it is a yearly data, I'll take 1. It is a quarterly data, I'll take 4. It is a monthly data, I'll take 12. But if you are taking a daily data, so then you have to see how many number of days your stock market is working. If you are taking sales, how many number of days you have a data for sales. If my stock market is working for around, let's say every Saturday, Sunday is an off. So around 52 weeks are there. So I can say 104 days are off. Maybe some 10, 20 holidays are there. So on an average, I can say that 120, 130 days it's off for in our country. So out of 365, reduce that 130 days and whatever be the frequency, you just have to write it over here. So right now, this is my monthly data. So my frequency is 12. Done? Done till here? Now let's plot it. Plot.ts and X. Now you will see same data is there. Same diagrams are there. Previously, I have calculated this this diagram for the Century Textile original. Now I just have calculated for X, the same diagram. The only thing is that R has not believed me that I have given the time series data. It itself has converted it and then give me the same diagram. Second thing that you will observe, when I make the diagram for Century Textile, I am getting the number of observations on the x-axis and it's written time. But when I set to R, just convert it into time series data and make a diagram, it has automatically taken the years. So if you also want to make a diagram with the years, one option is your ggplot. You can make the diagram with the ggplot. I have already given you the command. And second is you just make the take the help of this struct change command by parent test command, convert, give the instruction, convert the data into time series and then make the diagram. You will get the years automatically. Got it? Now let's make a model over here. Now model means again I have to give some name. So let's say over here I'll make it as model 1 because I've already made the model with the name of model. So model 1. Again same thing. I want the breakpoints. So I'll say breakpoints. Breakpoints from where? From Century Textile. No. Over here we have converted. So I'll say breakpoints from variable X till 1. Done. Now I'll say summary of model 1. Now, if you will observe the same number of observations are there, what we are getting previously, 52, 58, 92, 126, 160, 194. Now, it's saying that if you want to take only one structural break, it should fall on 185th observation. If you want to take two structural breaks, take these two observations as a breaks. If you want to take 3 structural breaks, these are the observations. If you want to take 4 structural breaks, these are the observations. And if you want to take 5 structural breaks, these are the observations. And it has given you the year also. 2005, 2008, 2011, 14 and 17. These are the points where the structural break is there. And if you remember, we did it with the AIC, BIC in ARIMA model. Over here also, it has given the BIC. But you have to back up with your literature when there is a structural break. Any doubt in here? Now, we can check by one more command whether I should take one structural break, or I should take two structural break, or I should take three structural break. So what you can do for that, you just have to write coefficient COEF, and then your variable is my model 1 over here. Now see, it has shown that you have to take all the 5. There is something or the other problem. It has given you that first break, you can say first data set should be from 2001 till 5, then 5 till 8, 8 till 14, 14 till 17, and 17 till 20. These are the breaks that you have to take. And these are the intercepts where there is some problem, that R is seeing that there is some problem, and suddenly that there is a change in the mean or other parameters of your data. Got it? Any doubt? Any doubt till here?
Ma'am, my internet just got connected. Ma'am, can you tell me the coefficient model again?
The coefficient model will tell you that what all breaks you should take. In the previous part, we have taken whether I should take one break, two break, three, four, or five, because 5 breaks were there. So coefficient will model will gives you the periods where you can take it. Now it's up to you. You don't have to believe blindly on this R. Don't believe blindly. The R is saying, because R is just a machine which is giving you the output. We have to validate it.
Ma'am, what is the number in the bracket? 2017 bracket, in the bracket there is a 2, and 2020 there is a 1. What is indicate?
This I have to check. I'm not sure about this, what it is indicating it. Maybe I have to check this thing. Okay, now how to make the structural break in the diagram. Diagram will show me that these breaks should be here, whether the break should be here, 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 here. So now we are going to learn how to plot this structural break into the diagram. So I'm going to plot the structural break. Now let's plot it. Let me give the name Z is equals to confind model 1. And then I'm going to do plot.ts, and I'm going to make my model. I'm not going to make my model. I'm going to make X, because I've given the first name to be X. It has made it. Now I'll make the lines. Now, are you able to observe the lines? It has shown me the breaks. Are you able to see this?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I want to calculate the break period also. It has given me the line. See, it has told me that there should be the 5 periods. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It has given me the 5 periods break. Now, how to make the periods? I want to show the break periods also. So just write line Z, because I have given the Z. Now, if you will observe this. Now, are you able to see this red color line? Let's see over here. Are you able to see this red period line? It is showing me that the prices start changing from this point to this point. This is that period when there is a structural break took place. This is that period. So something has happened during this period, this red line period. So you have to validate your results with the theory. Search internet that what had happened with your variable during this time period. Got it? Any doubt in structural break? No doubt?
No, madam.
Yes. Yes. Any doubt?
No doubt, madam.
No doubt? Okay. Now let's move to our arch and gauge model. Now, as we all are aware that we have done our ARIMA model and
Ma'am.
ARIMA, yes.
Ma'am, if we have structural break in our model, then it will likely to disturb our result. Then what is the solution of removing this structural break? Or we need to remove this structural break?
No, we can't remove the structural break. What we have to do, we have to leave that point from where the structural break arises. What we are doing, we are dividing our data into different parts.
Okay.
I'll show you one of my paper where I have taken the structural breaks and then I compare it to that which is the best option. I applied the structural break along with this your arch and gauge model, E-gauge, DGR gauge, and I just check which model is best in which particular period. So for example, if I take the financial crisis period, I didn't took the complete period. I just took say 7 and 8. So I'll take the period complete 2007, complete 2008. So 2 years data. And after that, I see that my break is there in your 2014-15 in my data set. So I'll take 7-8 data set. This is my one data set. Second data set was for 14-15, but with the same number of observations. And third data set was my COVID-19. So all are the crisis that happens. So what I did, I'll just check it that if such kind of crisis will happen in the future, so what should be the volatility? How I'm going to check it? Whether I'll by the EGARCH model is the best model or this SGARCH is the best model or GGR GARCH is the best model to judge the volatility in that. So with the help of structural break, I divide my data into 3 parts. I take only the crisis period. I don't take the complete period. And you will find n number of papers in this where they are taking only the crisis. They are just comparing the crisis. If I just study COVID-19 and this financial crisis, so that is affecting the globally. So I can say that if in the near future any such pandemic or any such crisis happens, so this is the best model which will fit in my variables, or these are the volatility I can judge in my model. So if I say that if I find out that my prices will increase by 10%, volatility is 10%. So in future, if such kind of pandemic happens or if such kind of crisis happen, there will be the volatility of 10%. I am sure that 10% volatility will be there. But we can also compare with between your COVID-19 and this Russia-Ukraine war. Both are the different kind of crisis. One is a crisis, one is a pandemic, which is globally, and what is a war, which is human-made, man-made war. One is a natural crisis, one is a man-made crisis. So I can also compare with these two periods whether if some external shocks are there, there is the same effect on a natural crisis as well as man-made crisis, or they are having an opposite type of crisis. This effect. If this man-made crises are there, volatility is less. If natural crises are there, volatility is more. So I can say that in future, if some man-made crises are there, volatility will be less. If in the near future, natural crises are there, volatility will be more. So you can just predict it for the future. So structural break is giving you the scenario. Just take this kind of data for your study. Okay,
Ma'am?
can we move
Thank you, ma'am.
to this arch and gauge? Any doubt? Any doubt if you are having till now?
Ma'am?
Hmm?
Ma'am, if I wanted to do vector autoregressive model, then how
Hmm.
can I deal with the unstructured data? Structural break data.
Then also even structural break can be done in panel data in anything. It depends what kind of data you are collecting, what study you want to do. It's not that you have to do structural break in each and everything. It's not compulsory.
I cannot make it in a one series. Do I?
Which thing? Structural break.
Yes, ma'am.
Structural break, you will check it individually where the structural break is there. Suppose in one series there is a structural
Then
break
I
in
have to
7.
divided the series into the between these type of forms. As you were saying, showing that there are the 5 types of structural breaks is there. So we have to
Yes,
make a 5
suppose.
series.
Yes, 5. No, it's up to you whether you want to make a 5 series or not.
Okay, okay.
See, this R is saying there is a 5 series, but we have to check it actually whether there was a 5 series or not. If nothing has happened in my data set, that means some theory is not available. Suppose COVID-19 didn't came, your Russia-Ukraine war didn't came, your this Russia crisis didn't happen, your financial crisis didn't happen, nothing happened. But still my data is showing some structural break. Then I'm going to see what happens with my company. It can happen there's a lockdown in my company. It can happen company has issued the dividend. It can happen company has done the split shares. It can happen the director is being changed. Some policies are being changed. Government has changed the policy. Maybe demonetization is one of the factors. So we have to find out those factors by studying. Let's say I want to see the financial performance of my company. So I will study the annual reports of the company and find out whether whatever this R is showing me, there is a structural break. Actually, there is a structural break or not. Because R is giving you just, it is analyzing the data, what we are giving to it. It doesn't have mind. It's not going to search the data. It's not going to search the internet. It's not going to search my variable, whether there is actually a structural break or not. If R is saying 5 structural breaks are there, but actually I happen that only in one point there is some change in my variable. So I'll take only one structural break. And let's say if I am applying the ARIMA model and I see that there is a structural break in 2013. So I will not try to take the complete data set from 2000 till 2020. I'll take it from 2013 till 2020 to forecast its future.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Okay, now for Arch and Gauge model. So the goal for Arch and Gauge model is to analyze the volatility. Now we are moving one step further. Previously we were doing mean model. Now we will be doing the volatility. And what do you mean by word volatility? Volatility means which comes out from the standard deviation. Standard deviation means the deviation from the mean. That means how much we are expecting and how much is observed. That means how much the observed observation is deviated from the mean. And so that means I can say that my volatility comes from your volatility means variance, difference. Volatility comes from your standard deviation comes from mean. So volatility model, Arch and Gauge model, which we are going to study, has come from mean model only. So unless and until mean model is not there, your volatility model will not be there. So volatility model will be having two parts. One is a mean model and then one will be your volatility model. Because I cannot calculate standard deviation without mean and I cannot calculate variance without standard deviation. So ultimately, first of all, calculate mean and then calculate the standard deviation. And if I am going to square it, I am going to come out to be the variance. So that's why, first of all, we have learned the ARIMA model because that is a mean model. And now we are going to study the arch and gauge model, which is a variance model. And variance has come from the mean. So I can say that ARIMA model is a part of arch and gauge model. Or without ARIMA model, without mean model, I cannot go for the further studies for the variance model. Now, before going with the arch and gauge model completely, are you able to see this diagram? Can you observe anything in this diagram? Can you observe anything in this diagram? No.
Ma'am, constant mean and unequal variance, ma'am.
So that means mean is constant, and I am saying that unequal variance means I am calculating the deviation from mean, that how the fluctuations are there, how the this deviations from the mean are there. And second thing, you will observe that fluctuations are there, and there is a fluctuations for short-term fluctuations are followed by short-term fluctuations, and long-term fluctuations are followed by long-term fluctuation. Are you observing it? Long-term fluctuations are observed by long-term and short-term are followed by short-term. So that means I can say that there is a clustering over here. There is a group over here. You can see this is a group. You can see this is a group. If small changes are followed by small changes, here the large changes are there, they are followed by large changes. Here also large changes are there, it is followed by large changes. And over here also large changes are followed by large changes. If more fluctuations are there, it will be followed by more fluctuation. Less fluctuations are there, less fluctuation. And second thing you will observe that if I can say that if this is a fluctuation, so its previous day also the fluctuations are more. And is for this previous day also fluctuations are more. So that means volatility clustering is there. And if you will see this diagram, this kurtosis, it's not normal. Your data is not normal. It's also showing that the fluctuations are there. See the value of kurtosis, we compare it with 3. And the value over here is 32.104. So it's showing me that there are fluctuations in my data. So whenever there are some fluctuations in my data, we name it as we have to study the arch and gauge model. Volatility, we are going to study the volatility over here. What kind of volatility is there? So now let's move to arch model first. Arch means auto-regressive conditional heteroscedasticity model. I have already told you what do you mean by word heteroscedasticity. Heteroscedasticity means we are dividing this word into two parts, hetero and scedasticity. Hetero means different and scedasticity means deviation. That means there are different deviation from the mean. If you will observe this data, there are different deviations. Over here deviation is let's say 2, or over here deviation is your 8. So for each and every point, you are getting different deviations from mean. All the deviations are not same. You are not getting the same deviation. Every spike is having some different deviation. Some are having 1 point deviation, some are having 2, some are having 8. So deviations are different. So that's what the word heteroscedasticity is saying, different. Now what condition? Condition says that why there is a difference. It depends on some condition, and condition is that it is depend on its previous lag, auto regressive. And we can see in this diagram that the fluctuations are depending on its previous. Like in previous, there were large fluctuations. So in the next year also, the fluctuation, there's a possibility that the fluctuations will be large. So that's why we say that large fluctuations are followed by large and small fluctuations are followed by small fluctuations. So that's why the name is autoregressive conditional heteroscedasticity. And if you are going to observe this diagram, see this date. This is April 20. And if you will see April 20 and over here it's January 1, 2020. And we all are aware that from January 1, the news of COVID-19 came into the world. And till April 2020, there was the first wave of COVID-19. First wave, lockdown was there in 2020. So you can observe the negative news. COVID-19 is a negative news. It's not a positive news. So fluctuations are more. Sorry. So just remember, whenever there will be some negative news, there will be more volatility. More changes will be there. More fluctuations will be there. And if we will study, we will find out that whenever there is some positive news in a market, less fluctuations are there. With the negative news, always more fluctuations, and with the positive news, always less fluctuations. And if this kind of data is there, we name it as an asymmetric model. If positive news are also giving me same fluctuations and negative are also giving me same fluctuations. If let's say I say that company is paying the dividend. If company is paying the dividend, it means it is a good news. I am getting money. It's a good news. So that means my returns increases to 10%. But suddenly COVID-19 came. The prices again fluctuate. I have a loss. I can have a loss of 20%. So that means negative news loss is 20%, but with the positive news profit is only 10%. So that means there is an asymmetric in the positive and negative news. So that is known as asymmetric model that we are going to study in E-Garch model. And if positive news are also having 10% return and negative news are also having 10% fall down in my stock price, so that means there are similar kind of results. So it will be named as your standard Garch model. That means similar effect is there. This is a symmetric model. So we have two kinds of model in my arch and Garch. One is symmetric and one is asymmetric Garch. Okay, now arch. This arch model is invented by Robert Engel. Now, what happens? Why this arch model is invented? Anyone is having any idea why this happens? Why we calculate this arch model? See, it was invented in 1982. In 1982, what happens? Inflation was at its peak in your UK. That means in United Kingdom, the inflation was at its peak. And whenever the inflation is there, that means we all are aware the prices are going to change, prices are going to increase. And if prices are going to increase, so that means that is going to affect your production. If I'm going to invest in business, it is going to be invested because inflation is there. So at that time, this person, this Engel, Robert Engel, take the data of the inflation and which was happening in UK. So what it did, it put the variance model, it find out the deviations over there, that how the deviations are working over there. And at that point, to study the inflation, to study the variance, it created a model named as arch model. So autoregressive means depending its own past. We have learned that previously if the fluctuations are more, next day also fluctuations are more. Condition means variance depends upon its past information, and heteroscedasticity means it is for the constant, it is a non-constant variance. Hetero means different, scarcity means variance, different variance is there at different point of time. So that's why we named it as autoregressive conditional heteroscedasticity. When different variance is there, and why the different variance is there? Because the condition is that it is depending on its past. So that's why we name it as autoregressive conditional heteroscedasticity. And if you will remember, this Arch model is saying that whenever there is some shock in a market, some news in a market, then there are fluctuations in my data set. And news are what? News are sitting in my error term because I cannot measure the news. I'm not saying any variable. I'm saying some news are there and news are sitting in my error term. So that means if some external news came, that is going to affect the stock price in the future date. So that's why Arch model is your error term model. So I can say that Arch model means that if some news had happened in some previous date, it is going to affect my today's volatility. So that's why you will see that I have taken omega plus alpha 1 e square t minus 1. And do remember in whenever we were taking your mean model, we were taking et term. Now we are taking Arch and Garch model, we are taking et square term. This is not the et term. And second thing that you have to remember, when we were doing ARIMA model, one of the assumption is that there should not be autocorrelation among the error terms. But over here, we are saying that error term is depending on its previous term. So we are saying there is correlation in the error term. Both are saying the opposite things. ARIMA model says no autocorrelation in the error term, but Arch and Garch model says there is autocorrelation in the error term. It's ET square. ET square is having the correlation. ET is not having the correlation. ET square is having a correlation. So that you have to find out. You have to remember ET is not having the autocorrelation. This is the assumption. But ET square is having a autocorrelation. So ARIMA model will not have the correlation, but Arch and Garch model will have the correlation, autocorrelation. Now, previously we have done Arch model. Now we are doing the Garch model. Garch is generalized autoregressive conditional heteroscedasticity. Now, what is generalized? Now, this is Tim Ballsrep who invented this Garch model, and this Tim Ballsrep is a PhD. He is doing PhD under the Robert Engel. So that means you can say that Robert Engel is his PhD guy. So what happens? He find out that if some external shocks can affect this Arch model, so my own variance can also affect the model. So that's why it invented the Garch. Now what he is saying that even my previous variance can affect the model, and Arch says that some external shocks can affect the model. So this Tim Ballsrep, what he did, he combined both the things. He says that previous shocks are also impacting the volatility, and even the previous variance is also impacting the volatility. So what it did, it says that both the things are changing the volatility, both the things are affecting your Arch and Garch model, but always remember volatility can never be negative. Why volatility cannot be negative? Because we are taking the variance, and variance means square of standard deviation. And if you will go mathematically, if you are squaring anything, -1 into -1 is 1. -2 into -2 is 4. So minus minus is plus. So volatility is a variance model. Variance is a square model. So it will never be negative, never. Even if whenever we are finding the results are showing it the negative part, but actually it's not a negative. It will never be negative. So it means coefficients of Arch should always be positive, always. And whenever we are adding Arch and Garch term, it should be less than 1. If it is showing it is less than 1, so that means we can ensure that stationarity is there. Now, any doubt till here? Any doubt? No doubt?
No, madam.
Okay. Now, let's move to the next part. In ARIMA model, we have learned there were but three things. One was constant term. One was t minus 1 term. That means if I'm taking yt minus 1, and one was et or et minus 1. So we name it as 101 or 111. Over here also three terms. One is your unconditional variance, that is your constant. Second will be your error term, ht minus 1. This is your error term, the previous term. This is your variance term, and this is your error term. Now, but over here, whenever you are writing any equation, just remember this equation. Your variance, today's date variance, is depending on omega plus your alpha et minus 1. Always remember alpha represents your arch term, beta represents your gauge term. Alpha, rapid Robert angle, invented some external shocks. That means Robert angle invented the error term, but Ballstrave invented the variance term. And Ballstrave is a student of angle. So just to give the respect to his teacher, he always kept the error term in the first place before its own term. Getting my point? Otherwise, in ARIMA model, you will always find this MA term, ET term afterwards the alpha term. But in arch and gauge, you will find error term comes before then your variance term. The only thing is that this is the student, this is the teacher. Just to respect the teacher, teacher comes first, student comes second. Now, next thing what we have to learn, omega will always be positive, greater than 0. Your alpha will be greater than equals to 0. It can be either greater than 0 or equals to 0. And beta term will be greater than 0 or equals to 0. And if you are going to add alpha and beta term, it should be less than 1. I have already told you we have two kinds of gauge models, symmetric and asymmetric model. Symmetric model means good news and bad news have a symmetric effect, and asymmetric means good news and bad news have a different effect. If some good news came, 10% volatility is there, but bad news have a 20% volatility. So both are different. So this will be my different kinds of volatility that we are going to study. E gauge, which is known as exponential gauge, I gauge integrated, T gauge threshold gauge, gauge in mean, GJR gauge, and there are many various other gauge. And this will be the steps that I'm going to follow. First of all, I'm going to check the stationarity. It's obviously understood. That's why I have not written. Second, I'm going to check the volatility clustering. Third, I'm going to check whether there is an arch effect or not. Then I'm going to create a gauge model. Then I'm going to make the model specification. And then lastly, I'm going to forecast the volatility. These will be my preconditions. If you are not finding the volatility clustering and your arch effect, that means I cannot move further. Now, any doubt in the basic theory of arch and gauge? Any doubt? No doubt?
No, madam. No.
No doubt? No one is having any doubt? So let's stop over here. Tomorrow we are going to learn this arch and gauge with the help of R.